Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on Ed Milet's YouTube video, How to Build Wealth in 2024. It's gotten a lot of attention online, and finances can sometimes feel overwhelming, so we're going to dig into the video and see what we can learn from it.
Yeah, it's interesting how this video seems to have resonated with so many people. Like everyone's talking about it and sharing their own experiences in the comments. It seems like people are ready to get a handle on their money and maybe make some changes in their lives.
For sure. But Milet doesn't sugarcoat things. He throws out some pretty hard-hitting statistics right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Did you see that part about how the median American only have like $5,000 saved?
You're right.
And then to actually live comfortably in retirement, you probably need something closer to 2 million.
Yeah, that's a huge gap. And it really highlights the difference between what we see online and what's actually happening in most people's lives. I mean, we're bombarded with images of people living these lavish lifestyles, and it's easy to start comparing ourselves and feeling inadequate. Definitely. And then on top of that, Milet also talks about the crazy amount of debt people are carrying. He said the average American has over $100,000 in consumer debt. It's kind of like we're encouraged to live beyond our means.
Right. It's a lot to think about. How much is this about personal choices?
Hmm.
And how much is it about the system we live in?
That's a good question. You know, one thing that really got me fired up was when Milet talked about these influencers who tell people to spend all their money. They say you need to stay hungry to be motivated.
It's an interesting idea.
It sounds pretty counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, it does seem a little backward. But I think they're trying to get at the idea that comfort can make people complacent. But I don't think you have to be broke to be motivated.
Exactly.
Real motivation comes from within, not from an empty wallet.
I agree completely.
When you're financially secure, you have more options, you're less stressed, and you can actually pursue your passions without constantly worrying about money.
And speaking of pursuing passions, Milet told this funny story about how when he was starting out, he used to drive this kit car, Mercedes. It was basically a Chrysler with a fancy Mercedes body on it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He wanted to look successful while he was secretly working hard and saving money.
That's so smart. It's a good reminder that appearances aren't everything. It's easy to get caught up in trying to impress other people, but focusing on your goals and building a solid foundation is way more important in the long run.
Absolutely. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the more practical advice Milet gives in the video. He talks about setting financial outcomes and figuring out your FIN number, which is your financial independence number, basically how much money you need to have saved to live comfortably off the interest.
It's a good way to think about it. Even if you're not trying to become a multimillionaire, it's helpful to have a clear vision of what you want your financial future to look like.
So how do we actually get started? Milet suggests dividing your money into three buckets: an emergency fund, savings, and investments.
Yeah, I like that analogy. It's a simple way to visualize how to manage your money.
So the first bucket is the emergency fund.
Yeah, this is your safety net for unexpected expenses.
Right.
If you suddenly lose your job or have a medical emergency, you'll have some money set aside to cover those costs.
Right. So it's for those oh crap moments.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the second bucket is savings. Is that different from the emergency fund?
Yeah, the emergency fund is specifically for emergencies. Savings is more for planned expenses, like a down payment on a house, a new car, or a vacation.
I see. So the emergency fund is for things you don't see coming, and savings is for things you're planning for.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. That makes sense. And then the third bucket is investments. This is where things can get a little more complicated, right?
Well, investments are how you put your money to work for you. You're basically trying to grow your money over the long term. But it's important to do your research and understand the risks involved.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of getting help, Milet also mentions the importance of having a good tax person on your team.
Oh yeah, for sure. Taxes can be super confusing, and a tax professional can help you make sure you're taking advantage of all the deductions and credits you're eligible for.
So they can potentially save you a lot of money in the long run.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our financial goals, our three money buckets, and the need for a good tax person. What else does Milet recommend?
Well, he talks about this 30% rule.
The 30% rule.
Yeah, it's where you allocate 30% of your income for three things: tithing, paying yourself first, and debt reduction.
So basically, you're setting aside a portion of your income before you even pay any other bills.
Right, and that paying yourself first part is really important. It's about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
Instead of feeling like you never have enough money, you're prioritizing your own financial well-being.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground so far. But before we move on, what are your initial thoughts on what we've discussed?
It's been really interesting to hear Milet's perspective. I especially appreciate how he emphasizes the importance of having a clear financial vision and aligning your spending with your values.
Yeah, me too.
What about you? What's resonating with you the most from what we've talked about so far?
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is this idea that building wealth isn't just about luck. It's about discipline, making informed choices, and having the right mindset. And I also like how he talks about the importance of having a support system in place, whether it's a financial advisor, a tax professional, or even just friends and family who can offer guidance and encouragement.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's definitely a journey, not a destination. And having people in your corner can make all the difference.
Totally. So let's dive a little deeper into some of Milet's more personal stories and see what other lessons we can learn from his experiences.
Sounds good. It's been pretty insightful so far. What are your thoughts on Milet's take on financial discipline?
Yeah, I'm really digging it. It's definitely making me think about my own habits. And, Milet, he didn't just talk about it, he actually lived it.
Yeah.
He had multiple jobs while he was building his business, even stocking shelves at a grocery store.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see someone who's achieved so much out be so open about the struggles they faced along the way.
He even talked about having his car repossessed and losing his house to foreclosure.
Wow, that's tough.
Can you imagine going through all that and still coming out on top like he has?
It just shows that financial success isn't always a straight line. There are going to be bumps in the road for everyone. The important thing is how you respond to those challenges.
So true. But let's be real for a second. A lot of people associate wealth with like luxury cars, mansions, all the fancy stuff. Even Milet himself talks about owning multiple jets. So how does that fit into this whole financial responsibility thing?
Well, I think it's important to distinguish between assets and liabilities.
Hmm.
Milet calls debt on things that lose value, like cars and fancy dinners, stupid debt. It weighs you down without giving you any real return.
Okay, so what about debt on assets, like buying a house or investing in real estate? Is that always a good move?
It depends. Even debt on assets can be risky if it's not managed responsibly. You need to make sure you can actually afford those investments and understand the potential downsides.
Right. Even a good investment can become a burden if you overextend yourself.
Exactly.
What I found really interesting was how Milet emphasized the psychology of building wealth. He said he actually gets more excited about watching his savings grow than buying material things.
That's such a powerful mindset shift. It shows that true wealth is about more than just money. It's about feeling secure in control and having the freedom to pursue your passions.
He also challenged us to really think about why we want to be wealthy. Are we looking for external validation, or are we driven by something deeper, like a desire for freedom and fulfillment?
Yeah, it's an important question to ask yourself. If you're constantly chasing after external approval, you'll never truly be satisfied no matter how much money you make.
Milet also talked about planning for financial winter. What did he mean by that?
He was referring to those inevitable downturns in life, like a job loss, unexpected medical expenses, or even a global pandemic. Having an emergency fund and savings built up can help you weather those storms.
He made a good point that when people haven't prepared financially, they often make bad decisions under pressure, which just leads to more financial stress.
It's a vicious cycle. Financial instability can create anxiety, which can cloud your judgment and make it harder to make rational choices.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about creating a sense of stability and peace of mind so you can handle whatever life throws your way.
Exactly. Having that financial buffer can help you stay calm and make clear-headed decisions even when things get tough. Milet even argued that having cash reserves can actually create opportunities during those financial winters. When other people are forced to sell assets at a discount, you're in a position to make strategic investments.
That's a really interesting perspective. It turns financial preparedness into a potential advantage. But for someone who's just starting out, it can all feel pretty overwhelming. Should they be pinching pennies and living like a hermit to save every dollar?
No, not at all. Milet isn't advocating for deprivation. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and goals. You can still enjoy life while building a solid financial foundation.
So it's not about never buying a latte or taking a vacation. It's about being mindful of your spending and making sure those choices fit into your overall financial plan.
Exactly. Find that balance between enjoying the present and planning for the future.
And he reminded us that even small actions, like saving $10 or $20 a week, can add up over time.
That's the power of compound interest. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but as it picks up momentum, it grows exponentially.
So to sum it all up, Milet's message is really a call to action. It's about taking control of your financial destiny, building healthy habits, and embracing an abundance mindset.
It's about shifting from being a passive consumer to actively shaping your financial future.
He urges us to max out our lives, not our credit cards, and to build wealth in a way that reflects our values and aspirations. But before we wrap up this section, I'd love to get your take on it.
Yeah, what's resonating with you the most from Milet's advice? What are you finding particularly insightful or maybe even challenging?
Yeah, it's really cool how Milet combines like practical money tips with this deeper look at mindset and personal growth. It's not just about the numbers, it's about getting your head in the right place.
Right. And he's so down to earth. He shares his own struggles and encourages us to find what works for us.
And he doesn't just leave us hanging. He says it's important to have a team of experts like a tax advisor or a financial planner.
Yeah, it's like having your own financial dream team. They can guide you through all the complicated stuff so you don't have to figure it out on your own.
You know, one thing that keeps coming up is aligning your financial goals with your values.
Oh, totally. If your financial goals don't match up with what you truly care about, you'll never feel truly satisfied, even if you're making a ton of money.
He wants us to ask ourselves, what do we want our money to do for us? How can it help us live a more meaningful life or make a difference in the world?
It's about finding purpose in your financial decisions, using money as a tool to create a life you're proud of.
Exactly. It's not about hoarding wealth, it's about using it to make a positive impact.
Right. It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Milet's message is all about empowerment. He wants us to know that we have the power to change our financial futures.
It's not about luck or circumstance. It's about making conscious choices and taking action.
It's a journey, not a destination.
There will be ups and downs along the way, but with the right mindset and support system, you can create a life where money isn't a source of stress, but a tool for living your best life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. As we wrap up our deep dive into Ed Milet's wisdom, I want to leave you with this thought. Building wealth is about more than just numbers. It's about creating a life of purpose, meaning, and abundance.
And it all starts with taking that first step. What can you do today to move closer to your financial goals? What will help you build a future where money empowers you to live a life you love?
That's all the time we have for today, but we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought and some actionable steps you can take to start building a brighter financial future. Thanks for joining us.